Um, I'll tell you my story. But before I do that, just a quick survey. How many of you were born outside the United States? How many of those who were born outside the United States think that that's an advantage? 2. I think it is an advantage. I think that you've been exposed to different worlds in today's environment. We are no longer a closed society. The more people you've been exposed to different cultures, it helps you. It gives you an edge over the people that were born here. Born in a small town, 40,000 people, rural Ukraine, very few cars, mountains. I went to school on skis. Age 15, my parents and I left Russia. We went to Italy. All of a sudden, I'm in Rome. I see all these wonderful things I've never seen in my life. We had $200 in our pocket. Those of you who are familiar with Italy or have seen it on TV, there's a lot of cafes outside. I realized that there's a lot of people that appear to be on dates, boy, girl, sitting outside in a cafe, drinking coffee and smoking cigarettes. If I can buy cigarettes by a carton, and I approach a guy who's there with a girl, and I offer to sell him cigarettes right then and there, the chances are, with so many people in a cafe, someone is out of cigarettes. If I sell it to him cheap, that's not impressing the girl. So the higher I go, the more impressive, the happier the guy is, because I've given him an opportunity to show how much he likes it, that he's willing to shell out pocket. And the guy says, how much? You tell him $10. He looks at you and says, you son of a gun, But, and he reaches and he gives me money. So that was my first interaction with the entrepreneurship. I came to this country, didn't speak English at all, started delivering groceries. I got through school somehow, through high school, saw opportunity to work in the jewelry business. And they paid by the piece, and I was young, and I was fast, and I was handy. And then I looked at the people standing next to me, and there was a guy, 40 years old, doing the same thing as I was doing, except slower. There's a guy next to him who was 60 years old, doing the same thing as I was doing, except much slower. So I'm saying, that's me. 20 years from now, 40 years from now. I don't want to do that. There's this thing called income tax in this country. So they gave me a form called W-2. I don't know what to do with this. So I asked my friend, says, there's an accountant over there, just go and see him, he'll prepare your tax return. And the guy takes a look at this form, starts filling it out. 10, 15 minutes later, he says, here you are, $75. You know what? I told my friend who was working there, I said, next year, don't give it to him. Come to me. I'll do a good job. I went to Baruch College, also part of CUNY, and continued working during the day and went to school at night. And that is what really served as an entree for me to become an accountant. Baruch had a very good accounting program, and I decided to major in accounting. I spoke to my professor, and he says, you know what? Here's a guy I know, why don't you see if you may be interested in an internship program. I walked in and I said to him, don't pay me anything, I just want to work here. So he said, you know what? I'm not offering you a job. I'm offering you a 2-week project. And when I walked out of that room, I said, okay, I got a job. Because there was not a chance in the world that guy wasn't going to hire me after 2 weeks. I showed up at work at 7 o'clock. I really don't remember why. There was one partner, the head of the International Tax Division, that was in. All of a sudden I see him wandering the halls. He sticks his head in, he doesn't know who I am. He introduces himself, says, listen, I need some numbers add up. Can you do that for me? And the following day, sure enough. Oh, you're here. But now he was a little more friendly. Hi, you're here, great. You know what, I have something I need done. I provided a solution for him. He needed work done. I was there at the right time. No one else was there. In life, what you will find is that things even out. You do something for someone, they know that you've done something for them. Human nature is that they will attempt to repay you, even without asking. On the contrary, if you ask, if there's a sense of entitlement, hey, I work for you at 7 o'clock, do I get paid for this? That probably would have said, you know what, fine, put in for a half hour overtime, and he no longer owes me anything. I'd much rather that he owed me. For that person to be in debt to me is worth a lot more than a week's pay. So I never asked for anything. I was just there for him. But human nature is such that he felt guilty. So one day he walks in during lunchtime. He says, you know what, I'm going to meet an interesting client. I thought that, you with your international background would find it enjoyable to meet with him. Why don't you join me for lunch? We had lunch. They talked. I listened. At that age, at that time, you don't really, unless you ask, you don't participate. But I met this guy, and we formed a relationship. Today, I kid him. I said, what in the world would possess you to ask for an 18-year-old kid to be working on your matters? He says, I don't know. I really don't know. But there was something there that I thought that you cared. It really doesn't matter what you do. Whether you do accounting, internet, you must love what you do. You can't fool them. People see right through you. Unless you care about the client, unless you love what you do, you simply will not be successful. What's the saying? If you do what you love, you never work a day in your life, something to that effect. It doesn't matter whether you're selling jewelry, whatever it is that you do, if you are not enjoying doing it, look elsewhere. And it doesn't matter what you do. If you are the best at what you do, you will be a success. If you're the best fireman there is, you're a success. It doesn't matter which profession. Success is defined by, are you happy with where you are in life? Are you achieving your potential? Is your status line, not just financially, but in terms of family, friends, are you where you want to be? And if the answer to that is yes, then you have succeeded. You cannot do this alone. You need a partner. You need, I call him a rabbi, a priest. You need someone who takes care of you. You need someone who will give you that push and take them with you. So always pick a guy that you work for, or gal, who is successful. You will ride their coattails. They will not be afraid to have you assist them because your success enhances theirs and theirs enhances yours. Don't be afraid to give that person full credit. Don't look for credit yourself. Whoever it is that you're working for, they know who gets the credit. Again, I knew that that person is in debt to me. And as I said before, I like when people owe me. It's a good place to be. I chose to leave a very, very successful career behind. People could not believe that I would leave such a great job and went from the single largest firm in the world to the smallest possible, which is one person. There is no right answer. The answer is different for most people. For me, I wanted to be in charge of my own destiny. I opened up my first office. It was at 230 Park Avenue. It was the Helmsley building. And I remember my father saying, "Well, you nuts? You don't have a client, but you are opening on Park Avenue?" And that is something, again, that that I think you can take something from. Work for people who have money. You want to do good for society? Volunteer. Do that work for free. But if you separate your career from philanthropy. So if you're going to work for people who can pay you well. People who use accountants on Park Avenue can pay well. I intentionally did not become big, but instead I built up an incredible group of clients. I wanted to be in touch with my clients. I wanted to know what's going on. I like to have my hands in it. You see, what ends up happening is that when people know that you care about what you do and you do good for them, it doesn't matter. These people found ways of going from using the largest firm in the world to using the smallest firm in the world because they liked what you did for them. There are many ways of succeeding. The principles are all the same. Care what you do, enjoy what you do good for the client, put your client first. I believe that, no matter what you do, if you apply these principles, you guys will be very, very successful.